What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here, back with another video, and I'm mad, you see, because I listened to you. I listened to the subscriber. You know what happened? They said, Omar, get a tan. Get your sexy ass a tan. And so I tried. I was out in the sun for only an hour, and I got like 10 bug bites all over. Here, all over. I guess they just love that sweet taste of creatine. I'm never getting a tan again, and you can expect me to be pale forever. But now that I'll be inside permanently in my basement, I want to make this video today, which is another principles of training video, and we want to talk today about exercise selection, how to optimize your exercise selection for your goal. In a previous video, we spoke about bar speed because you see, when you really get down to it, there are a lot of ranges when it comes to what's optimal, and the individual needs to be taken into account. So what's the optimal rep range? That depends. What percentage should you be training at? Once again, that depends. But there are a few fundamentals we can agree upon. So I made that previous video highlighting why bar speed on the concentric portion, why it's very important. You should listen to me because I have a bicep vein. And then point number two would be exercise selection. And one of the fundamental rules when it comes to training, whether it's for strength, hypertrophy, is to select exercises that give you the most bang for your buck and accomplish the goal that you're trying to get after. And what I mean when I say that, there's a reason why the majority of your training, again, if you're a strength athlete, if you're only interested in hypertrophy, if you are an actual athlete that then has to do a lot of different modes of training, why the squat, the bench, the deadlift really pay off, because they're big compound multi-joint movements. And I've seen recently on the gram, on YouTube, I saw my boy Alan Thrall along with Zach making a video joking essentially about someone, I won't name who it is, but functional movements that make exercises needlessly hard. And this is a trend because I think everybody wants to put their own spin on things, and the fundamentals are boring to talk about, right? So I'll give you an example right here. Back squat involves a lot of different muscles, right? So your entire lower body, your quads, your hamstrings are involved to an extent, your glutes, yes, your calves, upper body, spine, so your rectors to help stabilize your core, a lot of big muscles. And if we take a look at the squat, we can maximally load that weight because our body can perform that movement effectively. We can actualize our strength potential. But if we remove some of that stability, so now if I make you, instead of doing a bilateral movement, so instead of doing squats with 2 feet on the ground, it's like, hey, lift 1 foot up and we're gonna make you do pistol squats instead. Cool, pistol squats can be effective. You can overload that movement, but let's talk about how much you can load that movement. On a back squat, if you're a strong young lad, 300, 400, 500 pounds, that's a lot of weight. That's a big stimulus. You want to progressively overload movements over time. And so one of the fundamentals of strength training or hypertrophy training is to select movements that you can progressively overload effectively. Now, pistol squat, if you compare the load that you can put on that, so you're doing one leg, now you have a lot less stability, so you got to balance. You're leaking a lot of that power. So instead of squatting now 300, 400, 500 pounds on one leg, maybe you're using 50-pound dumbbells in each hand. So that's 100 pounds of resistance that you're adding to the movement. It's a lot harder because you're less efficient at that movement. And sometimes we confuse something that's difficult to do with what's effective. And that's maybe one of the biggest points I want to make. We could talk once again about single joint movements. So if we talk about the triceps, I've spoken about this before. You want to do those big compound movements, close grip bench press, dips. Then you can move on to barbell skull crushers. Once again, you can load that exercise a little bit more. But I'll see online, and Scott Herman talked about this too, and I think there is that contrast between people that were trainers before YouTube and then people that became trainers during YouTube. And have never trained anyone in person, but they take all their own personal experience, they'll pass that off as coaching experience, and then they'll attempt to coach others. And I also think because Instagram favors and social media novelty, a lot of this is coming out, but you'll see funky exercise variation. So for the tricep, where you're doing a single joint movement, you can't load it maximally, so you're not getting the same hypertrophy stimulus that you would with a big multi-joint movement or even just doing a simple skull crusher, and they try and make that their primary movement, and that's an issue. You want to choose movements that you can progressively overload and that your body can maximally express your strength potential. And that's why the big compounds should always be there. And then after you do that, what's then the argument So I just gave you an explanation why you should stick to the fundamentals, why you should stick to the big compound movements. So why even do any accessory movements? The simple answer is that we develop certain patterns. So I said before on the bench press, the ass chest always comes through. No matter what I do, if I do the close grip bench press, my chest is fried no matter what. The tricep is not as efficient. It doesn't get as much love and attention. Ergo, which means therefore, I saw someone leave a comment like, who the fuck's ergo, bro? Therefore, what you should do is, for that individual, your triceps will be lacking with the compound movement because you don't get to determine what area you target. You could try and influence those things, but then you do your isolation movements to make sure there's enough stimulus for the weaker areas. But you can't make these novelty exercises your primary focus, and that's perhaps the biggest problem. People confusing that which is difficult to do, so standing on one leg and then doing a pistol squat, which has its time and place, especially for athletes, but not for someone that wants to get maximally jacked and like, yeah, that's my number one movement. That's not you, dog. That's not what you want to be doing. So one of the fundamentals of training, be it for strength or hypertrophy, is to choose exercises that allow you to maximally express the given quality you're trying to chase after. And that is why big compound movements will always be there. You can focus on just lifting the damn weight, and sometimes too, they integrate in such a way where there's crossover, there's a carryover. You focusing on trunk stability on the overhead press will actually make you better at front squats, and so you can lift more weight. You don't want the limiting factor to ever be your technique. The more you invest into big movements, the more you get out of them. The more, from a neuromuscular standpoint, the more efficient you become. Whereas when it comes once again to funky single joint movement, you pretty much got it down pat from the get-go. And because you can't overload it with as much weight, you won't have the same hypertrophic stimulus. Anyways, I want to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. I'm not tanning ever again. It's done, okay? Accept me for the pale prince that I am. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the video, you made it all the way to the end of the video, like the damn video, and I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next video. Peace.
Eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.